وعلى آل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة، ويا باب نجاة الأمة، غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، لأندمنك صباحا ومساء، ولأبكين عليك بدل الدموع دمع. يا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. روي عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله أنه قال: إن لقتل الحسين حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In the narration that we just began our majlis with, the narration that is written on my right here, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, indeed in the heart of the believers there is a flame for the killing of Hussain. That flame will never cool down till the end. What is this flame? What is this flame that Rasulullah mentioned that is in the heart of the believers? This heat that we feel. What is the nature of this flame? Here the Rasulullah is trying to describe our relationship with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. How does a true believer feel in regards to the tragedy that Imam Hussain alayhi salam went through? In today's lecture, I'm going to try and assess how can we feel this flame if we don't feel it? And if we feel it, how can we maintain this flame so that we are amongst those that Rasulullah has mentioned, those who have this flame within them, and such a flame will never cool down within us. To begin and understanding this flame, it is, as we said, this flame is the relationship we have with the Imam. So, how can we form a relationship with our Imam? Where does our relationship begin? What is the first step that I take to start forming a relationship with my Imam? Now, the first step which is the first step for any act of worship, is to simply know what I am doing. In other words, to know the Imam. This is why we have many narrations that say that التفكر ساعة خير من عبادة سنة. Tafakkur means to sit down and contemplate, or to learn, to understand the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, or to understand what we are doing in life, to understand life questions. For 1 hour is better than worshipping for a whole year. And by worshipping is the acts of worship, like salah, sawm, and so on. So Ahlul Bayt emphasized to learn, to know what we are doing, to know the main questions in life. So obviously when it comes to the relationship with my Imam, I should know who my Imam is. Similarly for Salah, for example, the Prophet, peace be upon him, says to Imam Ali alayhi salam, he tells him, Ya Ali, rak'atani min alim. So 2 rak'at from a alim is better than 70 rak'ah from not the jahil, the Prophet said, from abid, from the one who worships Allah without knowing what he is really doing. 2 rak'ah while knowing what I am doing is greater than 70 rak'ah while not really knowing what I am doing. So similarly with the Imam, this is why we find many narrations that mention when we visit Imam Hussain, the reward we get is conditional. What is the condition? The narration says, Man zara al-Hussain arifan bihaqqih. He who visits Hussain while knowing the right of Hussain, while knowing the status of Hussain. Then the narration would say, Kutibat lahu jannah, ghafara Allahu lahu dhanbah. Multiple narrations with the same beginning. The reward of visiting Imam Hussain is conditional. And the condition is to know the Imam, to know the status of the Imam. So again, our main thing we are trying to do in this today is to, how can I start my relationship with the Imam? The first step is know my Imam. Okay, now that we have said this, how can I know my Imam? Where to start? How do I know Imam Hussain? Where do I begin with? There's multiple angles. Where do I start? Here we'll try to cover 2 main angles. The first angle is to understand that Imam Hussain alayhi salam is an Imam. So to know what an Imam is, to know that this status of Imamah is a divinely appointed person. To know what a divinely appointed person is. If I know that, that's my first step of knowing who Imam Hussain is. What is a divinely appointed individual? We have many. We have Anbiya, we have Rasul, so on. So what is the nature of a divinely appointed individual? Let's try to understand the 3 main types of a divinely appointed individuals. The first is a Nabi, a prophet. The main characteristic of a prophet, and I say the main because some of these characteristics may overlap between the characters. But the main characteristic of a Nabi is he is a person in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him the message on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us with a reason. We believe Allah is all-wise. If He has not created us without a purpose, if He created us without a purpose, He will no longer be wise. There must be a purpose. And given that Allah is wise, and Allah knows that we don't really know the message, we need somebody to give us the message, He has appointed individuals. Now of those individuals is Nabi, as we mentioned, and the Nabi is a person who simply gets revelation. The message is revealed to him. This is why we have narrations that mention we have around 100,000 prophets or so. We don't really know all of them. The Quran mentions 20 something. The rest we don't know them. They were sent into people that history hasn't recorded to us. So this is the first type of a divinely guided individual. The second type of a divinely guided individual is a messenger. Now we said the Nabi is the one that the message is revealed upon. A messenger, the main characteristic of a messenger is he is the person that delivers the message to the people. Not only the message is revealed to him, but he also delivers it. This is why not all Anbiya are Mursaleen. Some Anbiya are Mursaleen and others are not. Those who delivered a message to a certain group of people are called Mursaleen. They deliver the message. Now, we believe that the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth is fully delivered through the message of the final Prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. In the Quran it says, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. Today I have completed to you your religion and have perfected my blessings upon you. So the message is fully delivered. But is it fully implemented on this earth or no? Here comes the nature of the third kind of divinely appointed individuals, which is the Imam. The main feature or role of the Imam is to implement the message of Allah on earth. Yes, the messengers also implement, because they have a limited time. And now that the message is fully delivered, we need people who to carry on implementing this message until it's fully implemented. Do we believe it's fully implemented yet? No, because we believe in the 12th Imam. And the 12th Imam, when the Imam Mahdi Ajjallahu Ta'ala Faraja reappears, he will fully implement the message and complete the implementation of the message. So now we understand that the Imam is a person who carries on the implementation of the message. We go back. Now we understood Imam Hussain is an Imam. So Imam Hussain was amongst these individuals, those who their purpose, their role in life is to implement the message of Allah on this earth. Now why is this important? As a premise, as a first point to keep in mind. Because now when I read the life of Imam Hussain, step by step, I know number one, he's a divinely guided individual. That means he is infallible. He wouldn't make decisions out of his own desires. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't choose somebody that would make decisions because of their own desires. He would choose somebody who will make no mistakes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he chose Imam Hussain to be amongst those individuals, it means Imam Hussain, every action he did is to implement the message. So we can't really say, for example, some people, they say Imam Hussain rose against Yazid because he wanted power. He wanted to be the Khalifa himself. He was not looking for Khilafah, for his own sake, because he wanted power. He was not power seeking. He's divinely guided. So every step that I read in the life of Imam Hussain, I remember he is infallible. That's the first important point. The second important point, we said, the role of the Imam is to implement the message. So now, to understand Imam Hussein's movement, implementation of the message, I also will understand that he is following on from Imam Al-Hasan, who is following on from Amir al-Mu'mineen, who is following on from the project of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. So this is the first step to start building a relationship with the Imam. To understand who the Imam is. And to firstly understand the Imam, the first aspect is to understand the maqam of Imam itself. the status of Imam itself. Now that we spoke about this, what is the second step into understanding Imam Hussain, to build a relationship with him? Is to read his life, to know more about his life. Why did Imam Hussain move and rise against the Khalifa of his time, unlike other Imams? All the other Imams did not rise against the Khalifa of that time. So what was special in his spirit? Why did he do so? Now these questions, inshallah, some of them, I'll try to assess in tomorrow's lecture. The movement of Imam Hussain and what did Imam Hussain achieve through his movement. But one lecture is not enough to understand the Imam. This is something that every one of us have to try the best. To sit down and read. Read the life of Imam Hussain. Read the life of the Imams before Imam Hussain. Because as I said, it's one message that they are trying to implement. It's a one project. It's one project. So, understanding the Imam from the aqa'id point of view, from the belief point of view, the belief that he's an Imam is essential. From a historical point of view, understand what did the Imam do is the second point. And once we really know about the Imam, and the more we know about the Imam, obviously our relationship with the Imam, day by day, will be stronger and stronger. This is from the intellectual point of view. Now another point of view that the Imams focused on in regards to the relationship with Imam Hussain is the emotion. This is why the Prophet said, there is a flame in the heart. This flame cannot be created only through intellect. There must be emotion involved. If we look at the lives of our Imams, all of the 12 Imams, we said they're implementing one message. But if we see each Imam, based on their circumstances, they did a specific role. For example, Imam al-Sadiq, in his time, he spread the message as much as he can because the circumstances allowed so. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, however, in his time, it was difficult. He taught us how to perform qira'ah and so on. Something that is unique to the Imam of Imam Hussain. The Imam himself has mentioned it. أنا قتيل العبر. I am the martyr of tears. This emotional attachment to the Imam, this is something unique to the movement of Imam Hussain. We find all of the Imams, even before the Imams, the Prophet himself, when Imam Hussain was born, he cried. Something all of Ahl-Bayt has established, that we need to emotionally connect ourselves with the cause of Imam Hussain. This is why, and if we carry on the hadith of Imam Hussain, he says, أنا قتيل العبر, I am the martyr of tear. No believer remembers me until he cries. And if we see this practice, we find the Imams emphasize this. For example, there's a famous story between Imam al-Sadiq and a poet by the name of Abu Harun al-Makfuf. Imam al-Sadiq told Abu Harun was a famous poet. He told him, can you recite to me some poetry? And he meant poetry on Imam Hussain. But Abu Harun started reciting. The Imam stopped Abu Harun. He told him, no, recite to me the way you guys recite. By that, he meant, recite to me in a sad tone. Not just recite the poem, no, recite it in a sad tone, so that I can cry. Then Abu Harun recited a famous line of poetry by the poet Al-Himyari, مر على جدة الحسين وقل لعظمه الزكي أحسنت. This it's a famous Arabic poetry. After he finished reciting it, the Imam was crying. And then the Imam told Abu Harun, oh Abu Harun, if you recite on Imam al-Hussain and you make 10 people cry, then Jannah is guaranteed for you. Then the Imam said, not 10, 9, 8, 7. He started going until he reached to 1. He said, if you made one person cry through reciting on Hussain, Jannah is guaranteed. Now I ask you, why is the Imam saying this? We could understand that there is a specific or a special emphasis that we need to connect to the Imam emotionally. So now my relationship with Imam Hussain, one side is intellectual. I know the Imam, I know his life, what did he do, and so on. Another side is the emotional, it's the poetry, it's the ratmiyat that we hear. It's taking part in these majalis and so on. Once these two sides come together, that flame should appear within me. Now from a practical point of view, what can I do to keep the flame alive? The flame that Rasulullah has described. The first step, which is clear, and alhamdulillah all of us are here together, is to hold these majals. Imam al-Sadiq would tell one of his companions, he would tell him, do you guys gather around, أَتَجْلِسُونَ وَتَتَحَدَّثُونَ? Do you guys gather around and speak in regards to our matters? His companion would tell him, yes, my master, we do. Imam al-Sadiq would tell his companion, he said, إِنِّي أُحِبُّ هَذِهِ الْمَجَالِسِ. I love these gatherings, when you sit down and talk about our matters. Then he told him, أَحْيُوا أَمْرَنَا. رَحِمَ اللَّهُ مَنْ أَحْيَا أَمْرَنَا. Revive our matters. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy are bestowed upon those who revive our matters. So the first step that the Imams taught us is to hold these majalis. This will keep that flame within us. This is the first step. The second step is to constantly try and perform ziyarah upon Imam Hussain. For again, Imam Sadiq would ask another companion. He would ask him, do you visit Imam Hussain every day? By visit, he means ziyarah. Do you recite? Do you visit Imam Hussain every day? His companions told him no. He told him every week. He told him every month. He said no. He told him once a year. He said yes, once a year. The Imam then told his companion, how can you separate yourself from Hussain this much? How can you leave Hussain that way? Now we can understand from the first question the Imam asked. The Imam wants us to recite every day ziyarah. Then the person would tell the Imam that it's another narration. Somebody was asked the Imam how to perform a narration from far away. Obviously we can't go to Karbala every day. Nor can we go to Karbala every month, unless we live in Iraq. The Imam would still teach his companion how to visit Imam Hussain from far away. He would tell him, go on the roof of your house and head yourself towards the grave of Imam Hussain and recite the ziyarah. That is enough. You will be considered as if you have visited Imam Hussain. And think about it, if every day I recite the ziyarah and I think about the meanings of the ziyarah, that alone will build that special relationship between me and the Imam. So this is the second practical step. First, we mentioned is majalis. Second is to visit the Imam. Now the third narration, or the third point, is as we established earlier, we said that the Imam is implementing the message. And the message is not fully implemented yet. That means, can we be part of this message or no? Of implementing this message? Obviously we can. every action we do plays a role. Trust me, don't think that the actions you do are negligible. No. Every action you do plays a role in either hastening the reappearance of the Imam or delaying it. Every action. So, I try to remember, who is the real person that will be taking revenge for Imam Hussain? Isn't it Imam al-Mahdi? If I want the movement, the message of Imam Hussain to be carried on, to be implemented, don't I want the reappearance of the Imam to be hastened, to be brought closer to my time? Of course I want. If I love Imam Hussain, I want Imam Mahdi to reappear as soon as possible. How can Imam Mahdi reappear as soon as possible? My action, your action, everyone's action plays a role. Either delay it or bring it closer. And obviously, the same way that all of the Imams cried on Imam Hussain, and how countless number of narrations would mention how on the day where the crescent of Muharram appears, how sadness starts to be seen on the faces of the Imam. I wonder, what is right now the face of Imam Al-Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif? Now that we all saw the crescent of Muharram, now that we entered into the days of Muharram, what is his feeling? We have narrations that mention the Imam would say, when the crescent of Muharram appears in the sky, an angel would come down with the cloth of Imam Hussain, and this cloth will all be torn from the heads of the swords. And they will announce that the season of grief have started. The Imam would then say, we and our Shia, we don't see it with our eyes, but we see it through our vision, this cloth. This means that once we see the crescent of Muharram, we begin to grieve and sorrow on Imam Hussain. This is why every year we have been doing it, and we will continue doing it until we see Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif would be crying amongst us in such majalis. I wonder, when he saw the crescent of Muharram, what did he tell the crescent? Oh, crescent of Muharram, how did you reappear? Is it not you that witnessed the children in fear? Oh, crescent of Muharram, how do you shine so bright? Is it not you that witnessed Ashura's fight? Oh, crescent of Muharram, how do you stand so tall? Is it not you that witnessed Abbas fall? Oh, crescent of Muharram, do you not feel ashamed? Is it not you that witnessed Zainab chained? Oh, crescent of Muharram, with blood dye yourself in red, since on the spear witnessed Hussein's head. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون. Oh Allah, we ask you by this holy month, Ya Allah, to bless this gathering and accept our deeds, to protect our loved ones, to cure our ill ones, for the souls of our marhumin, specifically the marhumin of the organizers of this majlis. Please recite the Fatiha. Before it, allow salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على